All right, well, thanks everybody for joining us for our second annual meeting of the Center for Open and Reproducible Science. Russ Poldrack, I'm a director of the center, and I'm just going to give a quick introduction and then present our annual awards. So I think, most of you know why we're here, right? We think that both transparency and reproducibility are essential for the public to have any faith in the scientific enterprise, and that's borne out by various sort of public opinion surveys where scientists come out ahead of almost everybody else in the public's trust for us. And in order to retain that trust, we need to make sure that the work is both open and reproducible. So we started CORES a couple of years ago with the goal of basically, building on what many Stanford scholars have been doing for years related to these issues of open science and reproducibility in order to ensure, the integrity and public credibility of science. And so our sort of three areas of focus are: 1, open science; 2, reproducibility; and 3, evidence synthesis. CORES is part of Stanford Data Science, which is part of the Stanford Long Range Vision, and is really aimed to build a community of data scientists across campus and to build an ecosystem to help researchers connect with data science to improve their work. So that some of the work of SDS includes both funding of postdocs and graduate students who are already at Stanford, and supporting the hiring of a number of faculty who are going to be focused on data science in specific topical areas, and also funding collaborations between Stanford Data Science and all of the 7 schools at Stanford. And a really important challenge that we're trying to take on is in SDS is overcoming disciplinary boundaries, which can often get in the way of the kind of collaboration that we want to happen. And that goes by both creating intellectual spaces, such as CORES and other centers that I'll mention, and physical spaces, such as the new so-called bridge building that will sit in the space between Gates and Sequoia Hall. I wanted to mention that Stanford Data Science will be having its inaugural conference in a few weeks here in person at Stanford. And those of you who will be around, please be sure to join us. Let me paste the link. If you want to register for the conference, I just put the link into the chat. And we'll have a number of talks by both people from Stanford and a keynote from Emory Brown from MIT. And a lot of opportunities to interact with with people from various of the centers and researchers within Stanford Data Science. So SDS has a number of initiatives. A couple of the flagship ones include the Data Science for Social Good program, which is a summer program where researchers basically take on data science projects that are in service of some sort of social progress. Another is the Women in Data Science group that just had its annual meeting last week. I mentioned Stanford Data Science has also funded a number of centers. In addition to CORES, the current centers include the Stanford, not the Casual Science Center, the Causal Science Center, and the Center for Sustainability Data Science that was just started within the Sustainability School. So the CORES is led by myself and Maya Mather, who you'll be meeting in a little while. Franklin Feingold, who is on the call with us today, was really responsible for all of the sort of organization here. And then Chris Menzel, the Stanford Data Science Executive Director, has also been super helpful. We have an executive committee that includes a number of people, including Steve Goodman, who you'll meet today, and people from other parts of campus. We have a number of faculty affiliates, and we've actually grown quite a bit in the last year by about, I think, 15 new affiliates, as well as staff affiliates. And another exciting thing is we have a number of student and postdoc affiliates who once again span the campus from nearly all of the schools at Stanford, and they are currently engaged in a number of projects I'll say a little bit more about later. Anyone who's on the call, if you're interested in joining, if you're not already an affiliate, definitely email us at openscience@stanford.edu, and we'd be happy to include you in the group. We have an external advisory board who we meet with once a year and who help guide us in terms of thinking about the where we want the project to go, and have been super helpful in that. And so we want to thank them for their feedback. And so if you go to our website, we lay out what we think some of the values are that are inherent in the idea of open science. Open science means a lot of things to different people. To us, it means, it centers around these 4 values. One is transparency and openness, the idea that, and this is something that we're going to focus a lot on today in our discussion, the idea that the products of scientific research should be shared as openly as possible. The second is reproducibility, that we should prioritize rigor and reproducibility in our research, even when those conflict with other considerations or incentives. The third is diversity and inclusion. We think that the scientific process should be open to all, and diversity within the scientific community should be pursued and celebrated, both for humanistic reasons and because we think it makes the science better. And finally, community mindedness. We think that science needs to move away from being a competitive enterprise to an enterprise where scientists can coordinate and cooperate to help make better progress. In the last year, we've held a couple of events. One is the talk series that we held in spring 2022. This was a set of talks focused on open science practices, such as reproducible data analysis and modeling. We had pairs of talks where each conceptual talk was paired with a practical talk that really dug into how to sort of implement these different practices, and those were sort of highly attended. In addition, the videos are now available on our YouTube channel, and if you maybe someone could type that in. But if you go to our YouTube channel, you can see all those videos if you missed them before. We're also working on a guide, and this is something that a number of the student affiliates have been deeply involved in and sort of ongoing right now. That's we call the Open by Design Guide, which is going to be a guide to basically the entire life cycle of open science. Providing researchers both with guidance around how to implement each of these different sort of tools, but also a bunch of examples from Stanford researchers showing how these particular practices can be implemented across a really broad range of different scientific domains. So that if a researcher from a particular area sees one of their colleagues who's used this, they can reach out to them and actually ask for help or get guidance about the implementation of those particular procedures. So in the coming year, we're excited to put on another lecture series that'll be happening this spring, focused on foundational skills for open science. And these are, sorry, let me just do a little Zoom thing here. Okay. There's going to be a number of topics, potentially including things like Unix command line, data and code organization, and so on. Many of these will be actually given by various student or postdoc affiliates, or some of our affiliates from the libraries who are involved in the Carpentries organization. So we're excited about this because we know that one of the challenges for many researchers in accomplishing open science is sort of having knowledge and skills in these sort of very kind of basic practices. All right, so one of the